starting in the top position. So get your prop set up. You want the pillows towards the front end of your mat. You'll make adjustments per your body as you go along. The blanket is going to be folded and cushioning underneath the shins and the knees. And as we make our way to our mat, very important statement, keep this always in mind. Don't do anything that would cause your mind or your body pain. Treat yourself with love, care, and respect. All the work that we do wants to positively benefit our life. So with that being said, I would say start coming down into your tabletop position, get that blanket underneath your knees and your shins. And then anyone who's got foot stuff going on and you want to be tender with your feet, take the inventory right away. And if you get there and you're like, nope, my toes are touching, I don't like, put your pillow, tuck it underneath your shoelaces, get it where it wants to be so you feel held and supported and everything feels good. And no need to rush. And see, we're already there. I can't with this hair, you guys. I tried. I gave it a good 2 minutes, not even 30 seconds. All right, give me a second. As you find your way to your tabletop position, get yourself as comfortable as you can be on all fours. And then once you found your way there, take a second just to notice your breath. Liz, it's a slow practice, so you got time to work out the bells and whistles. But even if you don't, you know all these poses, so you might be able to set yourself up, and you don't even need to see what we're doing or hear what we're doing because you'll already know it. All right, so once you've got your tabletop position, adjust your hands and your wrists. Maybe wrists come a little bit slightly forward and your arms are a little bit wider towards the edges of your mat. We're going to move right into a cat-cow, but we're going to go really nice and slow with that cat-cow. So inhale, belly comes down, heart lifts, tailbone lifts. And then exhale, slow, gentle rounding of the back. And you're going to go as slow as you can to follow your breath. Inhale, drop belly down, lift chest, lift the tail. Exhale and round your back. And then just take a few slow rhythmic breaths. Take your time as you go. And then once you've done some good flexion and extension of the spine, when you feel ready for it, you'll take it into C-spine, hugging hip to shoulder. So getting a little bit of that lateral flexion into the spine, a little bit of that squeeze in at the side body. Take your time here, go with your breath. Inhale as you come through center and exhale as you squeeze in at your side. Go for one or two more there. And then when you're ready, we're going to take it into barrel rolls or scrape the peanut butter jar. So as you come back to center, now you're going to just start to circle your ribs around. And it doesn't need to be big, crazy range of motion. Sometimes less is more. That's my theme of the morning. Sometimes less is more. So take some slow, gentle, rhythmic circles, just allowing the spine to move in a nice fluid way. And then take those slow circles and go in reverse. One more nice slow circle around, and then we're going to start to find our way towards our puppy pose. But I'm going to say take a little bit of time to get yourself set up to where you want to be. So I've got the big stack of pillows, but I say the big stack of pillows sometimes brings you deeper into sensation when it comes to puppy pose, because it elevates the arms and then the chest just kind of has all that space in between. So hands onto the stack of pillows, heart softens down. You get this back bend position, basically. But for some of us, it might be better to go hands to the ground. For some of us, it might be better to put one of those pillows underneath the shoelaces and the shins. So you're going to choose the positioning that feels really nice to you this morning. Hands on the tall stack, hands on a half stack, hands on the ground. Go for what feels good there. Support the bottom half of the body in any way that makes good sense. And then once you've got yourself set up in a way that feels good, just let your breath slow down here. So yin yoga practice, a yin yoga practice typically is a still practice. You get into a shape, you stay there, you find a little stillness, you come out slowly, and you put some positive stress on the ligaments, the connective tissue, and the joints. In a restorative practice, everything is held up and supported, so you reduce as much effort as possible. You don't try to put any positive stress on, you try to reduce as much stress as possible. And then somewhere in between all of that, you could pepper in a little bit of movement. So like for me, I've got a bunch of space between my chest and my stack of pillows, and I could add a little nod of my head up and down. So if you feel like a little bit of movement might feel nice, see if there's room to gently nod your head up and down, looking forward towards the stack of your pillows, and then looking down toward your knees. Take one or two more breaths, maybe reduce that movement of the head and the neck. And then when you're ready, you're going to slowly, slowly, slowly start to bring yourself back up to that tabletop position. And then as you come into tabletop position, you're going to notice where you felt that little bit of dull, stiff, sticky energy. So for me, it's in that shoulder and upper body area. And you're just going to start to just gently move the spaces where it feels a little bit stiff or sticky as you come out. Sometimes those yin poses, you feel like you've aged like 3 years in about 3 minutes. So take the time to just kind of shift around, find that little wiggly movement or the soft version of the shaking out the etch a sketch, like just gently move things in a way that feels nice. Now we're going to spin it around so we're sitting onto our butt, but for some of us, it might feel good to sit onto the folded up blanket. So I'll say, take your time as you come around onto your butt. We're going to go seated forward fold. So for some of us, it might feel nice to go one pillow under the bend of the knees, one pillow on top of the knees, and you fold there. For some of us, it's both pillows on top. And then for some of us, it's one pillow underneath the butt, one pillow underneath the legs. So you're going to choose the propping that feels really good. And then you're going to choose how deep you want this fold to feel. So for me, I'm going to go a little bit of a lift up through the spine, fold over that top pillow, and then let my bent knees be supported with that bottom pillow. And then take a second, get everything figured out, wiggle out your bum, make sure your back and your costume are all in a nice place. Let everything find that little bit of softness. And then just let your breath come in and out at a nice, slow, gentle pace. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly, slowly, slowly bring yourself out of that fold. And then you're just going to think little calves and kittens. So just a little bit of that cat cow action coming back to a slight touch of flexion and extension, just to put a little bit of movement back into your spine. And it doesn't need to be extreme. We just want to invite that fluid movement back in. But to tell you where we're heading next, we're going to go into from an open book twist into just a holding and a supine twist. So we're going to either use a pillow underneath the head, yoga block on the side, yoga block underneath your head, stack of pillows on the side. So play with your props in a way that makes sense, especially when you open up into that open book twist. If your arm tends to not want to find the ground and you want a little something to hold that arm up that's in that open twisted position, adjust your props so that they make good sense to you. If you've got that blanket underneath your butt, scooch it off to one side, perhaps. This is the way I like. I like the stack of pillows, and I get to pop my leg up onto that stack of pillows. And I find that my head typically rests pretty comfortably and my arm rests pretty comfortably, but I'm in the mood to play a little bit. So I'm going to take my yoga block, put it underneath my head like a pillow. I'm going to put my stack of pillows off to one side. And then I'm going to take a second there just to get a little bit comfortable, make sure all my props feel like they're in the right place. And then once you've got your props where you roughly think you want them to be, we're going to take a few open and closes of that open book twist. So you're just going to go in and out with that arm. Exhale as you open up into twisted position, and inhale as you come back in. And then here you just take that little inventory. Is there any prop that wants to be adjusted? Like I want to shift my yoga block pillow just a little bit so it holds my head. All right, so now you're going to just see what feels good to open up into that twisted position and stay there. And then before you even get like deeply settled in, say, okay, do I want to support my head a little bit better? Do I want to support my legs a little bit better? That out open arm a little bit better? Give your propping a little bit of time to find its way. And it turns out I do like my arm on that side held up just a touch. I moved my blanket so it's holding up that out open arm. So get yourself where you want to be and then just allow your breath to come back in. Nice, slow, deep, intentional breath. Before we come out of this twisted position, that out open arm is just going to reach up alongside your ear and think big good morning stretch. And you're just going to reach and stretch from your fingertips to the side of your hip and just take that nice waking up breath to the side of the body. And then slowly unwind your twist. And then as you slowly unwind your twist, you're going to take your time to get yourself set up to go to the other side. So slow roll your way around. Give yourself all the time that you need. Pass your cushions over to your other side, pass your blanket around, pass your yoga block around, get everything set up so that you can comfortably get into the position on the other side. And then you get there and you make those little micro adjustments. Life is all about micro adjusting, isn't it? So get your leg where you want it to be. Figure out your pillow underneath your head. Open up into your twist to give it a test drive and see how that feels. And then take a few open book twists. Come in and out in a way that makes sense so you can just kind of tune into feel, where does your body land? Where does your propping land? Do you want to fix something up on this side? One side might be just completely different from the other. So the support might want to be a little bit different. And then once you have a sense of where your head is landing, your arm is landing, your legs are landing, then maybe you open up into that twisted position and then take the time to just gently settle in. Allow your breath to come in and out slowly. Going back to those just gentle ideas about those little subtle differences between yin yoga and a completely restorative yoga. Restorative yoga, you support everything and reduce as much effort as possible. Yin yoga, you want to soften the muscles around the area that you're working in. So in this particular position, we're twisting the spine. So then you want to encourage just a little bit of softness, a little bit of letting go around the erector muscles of the spine, the side waist muscles, and possibly up into the shoulder girdle, just because you have that open shoulder position. So you want to let go of those muscles so that you can get deeper and further into that connective tissue. And then the breath does the rest of the work for you. You still have that movement of breath happening. So allow the breath to be slow and deep and intentional. Before we release our twist on this side, that outer open arm is just going to reach up alongside your ear. And then you're going to think big good morning stretch. So you're going to reach through your fingers. You can spread your fingers. You're going to reach a little energy down into that hip, like you're trying to put a little bit more space into the side of your body. Take a nice big inhalation and then slowly, slowly, slowly roll your way back up. Now we're going to come up a little bit to a seated position so that we can readjust our props. So take your time as you bring yourself up to a seat, and then you're going to take your stack of pillows. We're going to go side bend position. So you're going to take your stack of pillows and put it so that it can come underneath the side of your rib cage. And then you adjust. Cushion your feet in a way that makes good sense. You'll cushion your head in a way that makes good sense. I like this stack of pillows because it gets me a nice bit of height. So get your stack of pillows underneath the side of your ribs. And then before you even go further and deeper, make all those little adjustments. Maybe you take your yoga block and put it underneath your head. maybe you take that top leg and you slide it back, but that might be the leg that needs that little bit of cushioning. So maybe you take your blanket and support that back leg position or support the foot. Give yourself all the propping, all the cushioning that you feel like makes good sense. And then once you've got your legs where you want them to be, got your side of your waist where you want it to be, then maybe shoulder depending, of course, maybe that top arm reaches up and over. So you get that nice big open space all the way down the side of the body into the hip. And then once you've got your props roughly where you think you'd like them to be, take a moment just to notice your breath. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly release. If that arm is up and overhead, take the time to slowly release the arm first. Use that arm to help push you up. And then as you come up, take a second just to come through center. And for the ease of transition, a lot of times I'll be like, I'm flipping my pillows around so I'm facing out to you. But in the interest of ease of transition, you're just going to scooch everything on around, reset anything that was on the side or off sides that you liked personally, and then just get right into that sideline position because the counter stretch to that side bend is just stretching that side bend to the other side. So get yourself propped up where you want to be. Maybe that top leg slides back so you open up through the front pocket, but that foot, if it touches the ground, it might want that little bit of support. So prop up the foot in any way that makes good sense, prop up the head in any way that makes good sense, and then go for that up and overhead reach so you get that open expansiveness through the side body, and then just let your breath slow down again. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, start by releasing that top arm if it's up and overhead, and then use that arm to help prop you up. We're going to take the time to come up to a seat just so that we can set ourselves up for that last final good positioning. So we're going to go into that open heart back bend. Now, for some of us, it feels good to put yoga block and then your long stack of pillows, and it puts it in sort of a little ramp, and that yoga block holds there. And then for some of us, we can put the blanket around our feet and then go into a butterfly position. But not everybody's going to want that blanket around the feet position. So for some of us, you might go pillows to wedge the hips for butterfly position. And I think that's the one I'm going to shoot for today. You might go blanket in a bit of a roll. So it comes under the heart space and gives you that nice open heart back bend. And then perhaps your yoga block can be your pillow. Or you can go yoga block. Medium height is going to be my suggestion. I wouldn't go past that. Medium height, that would be your supported back bend. It's very sturdy. Pillow would be your blanket, and you'd still wedge. So what we're going for is butterfly position with the legs, a back bend, or an open heart with a little bit of head support. So shoot for the one that will feel really good. I'm definitely going to go blanket underneath my heart space, but play around for a minute just to get your props. Like, where do you want your open heart to land? Where do you want your propping to land? Give yourself a little bit of time. Once you've kind of got a sense of where you kind of ish want things to be, then you kind of slowly bring yourself down. You make all the little micro adjustments along the way. And then once you feel like you're there, take a breath. Listen into your body. Does anything need to be adjusted? Do you feel like you have an open sense in the chest, in the armpits, in your arms? There's a touch of openness through the neck and the throat. There's a touch of openness through the hips, but it's held up. It's a little bit supported. Can you soften your jaw? Can you let the space between your eyebrows get soft, like you're melting your eyebrows to your ears, and then your ears melt to your armpits, and then your armpits melt down to your palms. And then you invite a little bit of softness into your abdomen, reduce any effort in your legs. And then just that FYI before you get deep into your settling in, since this is where we'll land, this is where we'll finish a practice. If you have your eye pillow nearby and you want that nice feeling of, if your head is falling back, the eye pillow does not stay in place in a nice, comfortable way. But if your head is in a roughly neutral position, it might feel nice to put the eye pillow on. I find the eye pillow is nice just because sometimes I do have a tendency to want to just open my eyes and look at stuff. And it just helps you keep the eyelids closed down. It helps reduce that incoming sensation, and it brings in that sort of closed in feeling and that soft held position with sensation. So go eye pillow if it feels good, and then just everything else is just going to soften and settle. You always have the option to stay in your Shavasana just as long as you like. But if you feel ready to do so, maybe you just start by twinkling your fingers, thinking of your hands and your fingers as that extension of your heart space. Your heart's nice and open. Invite a little bit of movement into your hands, into your fingers. Notice your breath. And then if you feel a slightly deeper breath come back in, maybe you move your wrist and twinkle your fingers. And then maybe there's a little invitation of movement into your elbows. And then maybe there's a little invitation of movement into the shoulders. So maybe you go fingertips to the shoulders and just draw some little baby elbow circles just to invite that movement back in. And then once you feel a little bit more alive, a little bit more awake in that upper body, maybe you think that like a big good morning stretch, but it's gentle and it's just the upper body reaching up and overhead, taking that yawning, reaching stretch, but maybe you spread your fingers just a little bit to invite some emphasis into the fascia of the hands and the fingers and take a nice big breath. And then as you exhale, maybe your hands softly come down and you find your sides of your legs and you help prop them up just a little bit so that you can come up comfortably and slowly and held up just a little bit. And then as you come up to a seated position, we're going to go for a light, gentle twist. So you're just going to rotate just a touch to one side, just to bring a little aliveness back into your spine. And then when you feel ready for it, take a gentle twist over to the other side. Nice and easy, just a little bit, just to wake up your spine. And then maybe you come into a soft variation of a side bend, just reaching one arm up and over, like you're just taking that little side morning reach, and then you take it through to the other side, finding that side bend over the other way. And then maybe you bring yourself up to whatever comfortable position is a nice way to land. So maybe it's Sukhasana, maybe it's crisscross applesauce. Maybe you take those pillows and you just stuff them up under everything. So your feet are held up and everything feels nice and supported. And then all you got to do is bring your hands right on top of your heart. Stack your hands there and take a moment just to come back to yourself. Close your eyes down, take a nice big breath. Breathing some love and gratitude towards yourself, for your mind, for your body, for all of your hard work. And then maybe another big breath to fill up with some good intentions for the rest of the day. And then when you feel ready, gently lift up through the top of your head, gently open your eyes. I bow to you. You guys are amazing. Woo! Happy Saturday.